In ancient China, people lived in small villages and were organized into clans and tribes. Each village was led by a local leader, who was responsible for maintaining order and resolving disputes within the community. These leaders were chosen based on their experience, wisdom, and ability to lead. However, over time, some leaders began to expand their influence and gain power over other villages. This led to the formation of small city-states, each with its own ruler and army. These city-states often fought with each other over resources and territory, leading to a period of constant warfare and instability. All that changed with the rise of the First Chinese Empire, which was founded by the Emperor Qin Shi Huang in 221 BCE. Qin Shi Huang was able to unite the different city-states and establish a centralized government that spanned across the entire country. He implemented a series of reforms that standardized weights and measures, standardized the written language, and built a system of roads and canals that connected different parts of the empire. Under the Qin dynasty, the Chinese Empire experienced a period of unprecedented unity and prosperity. The emperor was seen as a divine ruler, who was responsible for maintaining order and ensuring the well-being of his people. He was supported by a large bureaucracy of officials, who helped to govern the empire and enforce the emperor's laws. The Qin dynasty was followed by the Han dynasty, which lasted from 206 BCE to 220 CE. The Han dynasty built on the achievements of the Qin dynasty and continued to expand the Chinese Empire. The Han emperors were known for their military prowess and their patronage of the arts and sciences. They also implemented a number of reforms that helped to strengthen the empire's economy and government. During the Han dynasty, the Chinese Empire became a center of culture and learning. Many great philosophers, poets, and writers emerged during this time, and their works continue to influence Chinese culture to this day. The Han dynasty also saw the rise of great generals like Liu Bang, who helped to expand the empire's territory and secure its borders. Overall, the rise of the First Chinese Empire marked a significant turning point in Chinese history. It brought about a period of unity and prosperity that laid the foundation for many of the cultural and technological achievements that China is known for today. Qin Shi Huang was the founder and first emperor of the Qin dynasty, which ruled over China from 221 BCE to 206 BCE. Born in 259 BCE, Qin Shi Huang was originally known as Yingzheng and was the son of the king of the state of Qin. He ascended to the throne at the young age of 13, after his father's death, and began his quest to unify China under his rule. During his reign, Qin Shi Huang implemented many significant reforms that laid the foundation for a centralized and unified Chinese state. He abolished the feudal system and created a new legal system that emphasized strict laws and harsh punishments for criminals. He also standardized weights, measures, and the written script, which helped to unify the different regions of China. However, Qin Shi Huang's most significant achievement was his military conquest of the other 6 major states that existed in China at the time. This was a long and bloody process that took over 10 years to complete, but by 221 BCE, Qin Shi Huang had succeeded in unifying China for the first time in history. He declared himself the first emperor of China and adopted the name Qin Shi Huang, which means first emperor of Qin. Qin Shi Huang's unification of China was not without controversy. He implemented strict laws and centralized power in the hands of the emperor, which many of the old aristocrats and intellectuals opposed. He also ordered the burning of books that contained views contrary to his own, and the burying alive of hundreds of Confucian scholars who refused to follow his teachings. Despite these controversial actions, Qin Shi Huang's legacy of a united China lasted for over 2,000 years. Qin Shi Huang was also known for his grand building projects, including the construction of the Great Wall of China, which was initially built to protect the empire from northern invaders. He also commissioned the building of his mausoleum, which is one of the largest burial complexes in the world and includes the famous Terracotta Army, a collection of over 8,000 life-size terracotta soldiers, horses, and chariots. Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BCE at the age of 49, and his son inherited the throne. However, the Qin dynasty was short-lived, and it fell apart just a few years after his death. Despite its short existence, the Qing dynasty had a profound impact on Chinese history, and Qin Shi Huang's legacy as the first emperor of a unified China is still celebrated to this day. The Han Dynasty, which followed the Qin dynasty, was one of the longest and most prosperous periods in Chinese history, lasting from 206 BCE to 220 CE. It was during this time that the Chinese Empire expanded its borders, established trade relationships with neighboring regions, and developed a sophisticated system of government. One of the most important figures of the Han Dynasty was Liu Bang, a general who rose to power after overthrowing the Qin dynasty. Born into a peasant family, Liu Bang joined the army at a young age and quickly rose through the ranks due to his military prowess and strategic acumen. After the fall of the Qin dynasty, Liu Bang emerged as a leader among the various rebel factions that were vying for control of China. He eventually defeated his rivals and established himself as the emperor of the Han dynasty. Under Liu Bang's rule, the Han dynasty implemented a number of important reforms. One of the most significant was the creation of a centralized government, which replaced the feudal system that had been in place during the Warring States period. Liu Bang also established a system of taxation and land ownership that helped to consolidate his power and strengthen the economy. He also instituted a civil service system that allowed talented individuals to rise to positions of power based on merit rather than social status. One of the most enduring legacies of the Han dynasty was its emphasis on education and scholarship. Liu Bang recognized the importance of intellectual pursuits in the development of a stable and prosperous society, and he encouraged the study of Confucianism and other philosophical traditions. During the Han dynasty, great scholars and philosophers like Confucius, Laozi, and Mencius emerged, and their teachings had a profound influence on Chinese society. The Han dynasty also saw the development of important works of literature, including the records of the Grand Historian, a comprehensive account of Chinese history that remains a valuable resource to this day. In addition to its cultural and intellectual achievements, the Han dynasty was also a period of great military expansion. Under the leadership of Liu Bang and other skilled generals, the Chinese Empire expanded its territory to include parts of Vietnam, Korea, and Central Asia. Overall, the Han dynasty was a time of remarkable achievement and innovation in Chinese history. The rise of great leaders like Liu Bang, the establishment of a strong centralized government, and the emphasis on education and scholarship all contributed to the enduring legacy of this period. During the Han dynasty, which lasted from 206 BCE to 220 CE, China underwent a period of great intellectual and cultural growth. This period saw the emergence of two of China's greatest philosophers, Confucius and Laozi, whose teachings had a profound influence on Chinese society and culture. Confucius, also known as Kong Xiu, was a Chinese philosopher, politician, and teacher who lived during the 5th century BCE. He was a great advocate of social and political order and believed that social harmony could be achieved through moral education and personal example. Confucius taught that a just and moral society could be achieved through respect for authority, the maintenance of social hierarchy, and the cultivation of virtue in individuals. One of Confucius's most important teachings was the concept of the 5 relationships, which outlined the ideal relationships between ruler and subject, father and son, older brother and younger brother, husband and wife, and friend and friend. He believed that if people followed these relationships with respect and reverence, society would be harmonious and prosperous. Laozi, also known as Lao Tzu, was a Chinese philosopher and writer who lived during the 6th century BCE. He is best known for his book, the Tao Te Ching, which is considered one of the most important works in Chinese philosophy. Laozi's philosophy emphasized the importance of living in harmony with the natural world and achieving balance and tranquility through self-reflection and introspection. Laozi believed in the concept of the Tao, or the Way, which he saw as the natural order of the universe. He taught that by living in accordance with the Tao, people could achieve inner peace and happiness. He also emphasized the importance of humility, simplicity, and compassion in leading a good life. The teachings of Confucius and Laozi had a profound impact on Chinese society and culture. Confucianism became the dominant philosophy of the Han Dynasty and influenced Chinese social and political order for centuries to come. Laozi's philosophy of the Tao had a significant impact on Chinese art, literature, and religion, and continues to be an important part of Chinese culture today. Overall, the Han Dynasty was a period of great intellectual and cultural growth in China, and the teachings of Confucius and Laozi played a significant role in shaping the Chinese way of life. The Han Dynasty, 206 BCE, 220 CE, was a period of great expansion and innovation in China. During this time, the construction of the Great Wall of China began, which is one of the most iconic and recognizable landmarks in the world today. The Great Wall of China was built to protect the empire from invading armies, particularly the nomadic tribes that roamed the northern regions of China. The wall was made of a variety of materials, including brick, stamped earth, and stone, and it stretched for over 13,000 miles, making it one of the largest building projects in human history. Construction of the Great Wall began in the 3rd century BCE during the reign of the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. However, the wall as we know it today was mostly built during the Han Dynasty, which saw a significant expansion of the wall to cover more territory. The Great Wall was not built in a single stretch, but rather in sections, with different dynasties adding their own sections over time. During the Han Dynasty, the wall was extended westward into the Gobi Desert and the regions beyond, where it acted as a barrier against the nomadic tribes of Central Asia. The construction of the Great Wall was a monumental undertaking, requiring the labor of millions of workers over several centuries. It was built by soldiers, peasants, and prisoners who were conscripted into service by the emperor. These workers were organized into work units and were responsible for building and maintaining sections of the wall. The construction of the Great Wall was a dangerous and grueling task, with workers facing extreme weather conditions, attacks from nomadic tribes, and treacherous terrain. Despite these challenges, the wall was built to a remarkable standard of quality, with many sections still standing today, centuries after their construction. The Great Wall of China is now recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is a popular tourist attraction, with millions of visitors from around the world coming to see this remarkable feat of engineering and architecture. It stands as a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the ancient Chinese people, who were able to build one of the most impressive structures in human history. The Tang Dynasty was a period of great prosperity and cultural richness in Chinese history. It lasted from 618 to 907 AD and was known for its achievements in literature, art, music, and technology. During this time, China became one of the most powerful and influential nations in the world. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Tang Dynasty was the rise of female power. Wu Zetian, who was born in 624, was a concubine of Emperor Taizong. She was known for her intelligence and political acumen, and after the emperor's death, she became the wife of his successor, Emperor Gaozong. She eventually became the first and only woman to rule China as an empress in her own right. Wu Zetian was a controversial figure, and her reign was marked by political intrigue and ruthless tactics. However, she was also a patron of the arts and encouraged the development of literature, music, and painting. She was especially interested in Buddhism and encouraged the construction of temples and the translation of Buddhist texts. Under the Tang Dynasty, China experienced a golden age of literature and poetry. Many of the greatest Chinese poets, such as Li Bai and Du Fu, lived during this time. They wrote about nature, love, and the human condition in a lyrical and expressive style that has influenced Chinese literature to this day. The Tang Dynasty was also known for its advances in technology and science. Inventions such as the compass, gunpowder, and printing presses revolutionized Chinese society and had a profound impact on the world. In addition to its cultural and technological achievements, the Tang Dynasty was also a period of economic prosperity and social stability. The government was efficient and well organized, and the imperial bureaucracy was staffed by talented and educated officials. Despite its many accomplishments, the Tang Dynasty eventually declined due to internal strife and external pressures from invading forces. However, its legacy continues to influence Chinese culture and society to this day. The Tang dynasty remains a symbol of China's greatness and its ability to create enduring works of art, literature, and science. The Tang dynasty, which lasted from 618 to 907 CE, is widely regarded as a golden age in Chinese history. It was a time of great cultural, artistic, and intellectual flourishing, and many of the developments that occurred during this period continue to influence Chinese society today. One of the most important legacies of the Tang dynasty was its contribution to Chinese literature. During this time, many great poets and writers emerged, including Li Bai, Du Fu, Wang Wei, and Bai Zhiyi, who are still considered to be some of the greatest literary figures in Chinese history. These poets and writers wrote in a style known as regulated verse, which was characterized by strict rules and formal structures. The Tang dynasty also saw the emergence of the Tangshi Sanbai Shou, 300 Tang poems, a collection of poems that is still widely read and studied in China today. This collection includes works by many of the greatest poets of the Tang dynasty, and it is considered to be one of the most important literary achievements of Chinese civilization. In addition to poetry, the Tang dynasty was also a time of great innovation in other forms of literature. Prose writing became more popular during this period, and many writers produced works that are still studied today, such as the Book of Han, the Book of Tang, and the New Book of Tang. These works were important in shaping the historical and cultural narratives of the Tang dynasty and continue to be important sources of information about this period. The Tang dynasty was also a time of great artistic innovation. Tang artists were known for their skills in painting, calligraphy, and sculpture, and they produced some of the most beautiful and intricate artworks in Chinese history. Tang painters were particularly famous for their landscape paintings, which were characterized by their use of color, texture, and composition to create vivid and evocative scenes. Finally, the Tang dynasty was a time of great intellectual growth and achievement. The imperial court was filled with scholars and thinkers who were interested in a wide range of subjects, from mathematics and astronomy to philosophy and religion. Many of these scholars produced important works that helped to shape the intellectual landscape of China for centuries to come. Overall, the Tang dynasty was a time of great cultural and intellectual flourishing in China. It produced some of the greatest literary, artistic, and intellectual achievements in Chinese history, and its influence can still be felt in China and beyond today. The Song dynasty, 960–1279 CE, was one of the most significant periods in Chinese history, known for its remarkable technological and cultural advancements. During this era, the Chinese invented numerous inventions that had a profound impact on the world. One of the most significant inventions of the Song dynasty was gunpowder. Chinese alchemists had been experimenting with various substances for centuries before the Song dynasty, but it was during this period that they discovered the explosive properties of gunpowder. Initially, gunpowder was used in fireworks and was seen as a form of entertainment. However, the Chinese quickly realized its military potential and started using it in weaponry, including guns and cannons. The invention of gunpowder had a significant impact on warfare and played a crucial role in shaping the world we know today. Another major invention of the Song dynasty was the movable type printing press. Although printing had been used in China for centuries before the Song dynasty, it was during this era that Bai Sheng, a Chinese artisan, developed the world's first movable type printing press. This invention allowed for the mass production of books, leading to a significant increase in literacy rates and the spread of knowledge throughout China and beyond. The movable type printing press revolutionized the printing industry and paved the way for modern-day printing technology. The Song dynasty was also responsible for other significant inventions, including paper money, the magnetic compass, and the mechanical clock. Paper money, in particular, was a significant development as it made trade and commerce more accessible and efficient, reducing the reliance on bartering and precious metals. The magnetic compass revolutionized navigation, allowing sailors to travel further and explore new territories, leading to significant advancements in global trade and exploration. The mechanical clock allowed for more precise timekeeping and helped to increase productivity in various industries. Overall, The Song dynasty was an era of great innovation and technological advancement that helped to shape the world we know today. The inventions and developments made during this period had a profound impact on warfare, communication, trade, and science. Their achievements in science and technology, combined with their cultural contributions, make the Song dynasty a significant and memorable period in Chinese history. The Ming dynasty was one of the most prosperous and influential periods in Chinese history, lasting from 1368 to 1644. During this time, China became a global superpower and a hub of international trade, with an economy that surpassed that of any other country in the world. One of the key factors that contributed to the Ming dynasty's economic success was its emphasis on agriculture. The government implemented policies that encouraged farmers to increase crop yields, leading to a surplus of food that could be traded for other goods. In addition, the Ming dynasty invested heavily in infrastructure, building roads, canals, and bridges that facilitated trade between different regions of China. Another important factor was the Ming dynasty's focus on maritime exploration and trade. The famous Chinese admiral Zheng He led expeditions to Southeast Asia, India, and Africa, bringing back exotic goods such as spices, silks, and precious stones. These expeditions not only opened up new markets for Chinese goods, but also helped to establish China as a powerful maritime nation. The Ming dynasty was also known for its advancements in technology and the arts. The period saw the development of new technologies such as porcelain production, printing presses, and the use of gunpowder in warfare. The arts flourished during this time, with masterpieces of Chinese literature, painting, and poetry being produced. The Ming dynasty also had a profound impact on international relations. China became a hub of international trade, with merchants from all over the world coming to buy and sell goods. The Chinese government established diplomatic relations with other nations, sending envoys to foreign courts and receiving ambassadors in return. In addition, the Ming dynasty established a tributary system, in which neighboring states paid tribute to China in exchange for protection and trade privileges. Overall, the Ming dynasty was a time of great prosperity and innovation in China's history. Its economic success, technological advancements, and international influence cemented China's position as a global superpower and laid the foundations for the country's future growth and development. The rise of the ancient Chinese Empire was a remarkable achievement that had a profound impact on the course of human history. From the earliest dynasties of the Xia and Shang to the glory days of the Tang and Ming, China has been a powerful force in the world, shaping the cultural, economic, and political landscape of Asia and beyond. The ancient Chinese empires were renowned for their technological innovations, artistic achievements, and military prowess. They created some of the world's most impressive architectural wonders, including the Great Wall of China, and developed a rich cultural heritage that continues to influence the world today. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of the ancient Chinese Empire is its philosophy, which has had a profound impact on the way people think about the world and their place in it. From the teachings of Confucius to the Taoist concept of yin and yang, the ancient Chinese philosophers explored fundamental questions about human nature, morality, and the meaning of life. In short, the rise of the ancient Chinese Empire was a defining moment in human history, marking the emergence of one of the world's greatest civilizations. Its legacy continues to inspire and influence people around the world, reminding us of the remarkable achievements that can be accomplished through hard work, innovation, and a commitment to excellence.